these beats. Heart built like Malcolm X with Kaepernick knees. Shotgun to the cipher, double tap MCs. Moonwalk on these niggas in my football cleats. Blueprint to take over. Nigga, I thought this was over. I stay woke like I'm from Queens and heard the bridge is over. Like I'm from Brooklyn, two to your chest, casting over. When he get hit with that venom that's spewing out the cobra. Niggas told Barack they wanted me to get released. But they could have freed Osada with a couple tweets. Fuck this woke shit, wanna blow, this what you need. A tatted bitch that can twerk and then start a couple beefs. But how can you be God if people don't believe in you? Turn cheeks to the ops, not believable. Go hard, I'll break in jail just to eat the food. Single file, ball and chain, dressed like Beetlejuice. Niggas turn to house niggas, then they turn to Jesus. If I see him, I fuck him up for lying to our leaders. Step to him with the cannon, look like he on cheaters. Make it look like Central Park when they come see us. Jews don't like blacks, nigga, you can ask them. Don't care if the Holocaust did or didn't happen. Niggas say that they are God until they see the cracking. Buck 50 the whole block, call it OG Mackin. I love Cole, I'm just glad that I'm around. Honestly, I wouldn't give a fuck if I let Nas down. Still missing that 99 Nostradamus sound. With my family, I don't give a fuck about these other clowns. Never step out to the label with the gall. Hit the pizza spot and spit on the floor. Radio Raheem, ain't no black people on the wall. Shoot up the White House and Fox News, fuck them all. Tell LeBron to retire the way I ball Laker. I ain't checking in the shit cause I don't talk to traders. I know your girl needed help, but now she owe a favor. Bitch, one phone call to swat your team code's neighbor. I don't care who the best is lyrically. Blacks are more likely to get the death penalty. What do you think it says to black kids mentally? Bow to that white Jesus on the wall, or is it me? This is real, dog. Take cake and bear witness. There'll be two different outcomes if we get sentenced. Boycotting the Grammys was no gimmick, but we fought just so Macklemore could win it over Kendrick. Christ, we don't hate you cause you're white. Look at your history, we should have killed y'all on sight. You shouldn't be punished for what your ancestors did, but you'll suffer like they should have if you don't make it right. We're just not alike. You never sacrifice. Until I get a check, a cracker shouldn't hold the mic. Being black, your soul can be cold as ice. In a white world, gotta stay hard, Dolomite. I think Eminem, the whites represent Hitler. Who'll stand up against that crescent star like RZA. I should put Jordan Lucas in a cross-face crippler for thinking that a song can make you crackers get the picture. The God, why y'all hating on Jamal when he paved the way for crackers like you to be a star? Yeah, the God, why y'all hating on Jamal when he paved the way for crackers like y'all to be stars? Yeah.
That's all anyone can ask of someone who is not understanding fully of what the plight is of the black community and the black man specifically. Drew, you gotta do better. And the timing.
Look how much African American communities have suffered under Democratic control. To those I say the following. What do you have to lose by trying something new like Trump?
It's making sure young black men avoid jail time, become better communicators with their families.
And in the end, it did my heart good to see the turnout, the peaceful protests, and it was from people of all colors, not just black people. I saw people of all colors, and I saw a whole lot of white people.
We Cannot Stop, which addresses the plague of police brutality against black Americans.
The choice for president should be an easy one for African Americans. It's become controversial. Watch.
Well, you know, get so much. That's really our time. I apologize.
You can't do that to black media.
I can't do that to white media and black media.
We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Called people like Martin Luther King, who just got a Nobel Peace Prize, an Uncle Tom. Is this correct? First?
Well, I'd rather say that in the States, there's a law that has recently been passed, or a decision handed down by the court, where if you call someone an Uncle Tom, they can sue you for libel. Well, Martin is my friend.
Uncle Martin is your friend, yet you would disagree with his approach to what he wants to accomplish.
Definitely. If his approach would bring about what the black man in America needs to completely eliminate the problem that we have, I would say well and good.
Out from here into university, and then you went to Montgomery, Alabama, and started the bus boycotts there. What was the philosophy of the civil rights movement as you saw it then, more than 10 years ago?
Well, I would say then the philosophy was that we must go all out to use legal and nonviolent methods to gain full citizenship rights for the Negro people of our country.
Then could I ask the governor a question?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the black Muslims in this country?
Not too familiar with them.
Well, they practice black separatism.
Well, that's the reason I'm not familiar with them.
Good answer.
It's unusual for white presidential candidates to show up.
Your judgment of what you want this community to be?
Kennedy Johnson handily won the African American vote on promises of equality and justice.
Do you think an element of supreme organization to all of this, designed to basically tear our country in two right now in a way that is destructive and unhealthy?
Well, absolutely, and we're seeing it not only by the mainstream media, but of course in Hollywood as well, and in entertainment. When you have icons like Beyonce and Colin Kaepernick speaking out regularly against police and demonstrating against police officers, that message has been set forth.
If you have no interest in equal rights for black people, then do not make suggestions to those who do. Sit down.
Equal rights. Please tell me, Mr. Williams, what rights black people don't have?
The number one job in America, the point of person, is someone who doesn't understand the people and really don't give a about the people. So like our team as a country is not ran by a great coach.
Must they run their mouths like that? So keep the political commentary to yourself, or as someone once said, shut up and dribble.
But Mrs. Lee, in this country, having babies is the only thing left which is both unrationed and untaxed. Do you think we really ought to stop?
Well, I suppose a subject like that is really so personal that it's entirely up to the parents to decide. But from my view, I believe that there should be no more babies.
Planned Parenthood is publicly commemorating Black History Month while turning a blind eye to what the organization's very founder remarked about race. In a series of recent tweets, Planned Parenthood President Dr. Lena Wen praised Black employees and supporters of Planned Parenthood, but Wen's posts overlooked Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger's writings on race. In her autobiography, Sanger wrote that she spoke at a 1926 Ku Klux Klan rally. She characterized her lecture there as a success, writing, quote, "I believed I had accomplished my purpose," and that, quote, "a dozen invitations to speak to similar groups were proffered." In a 1939 letter to Dr. Clarence Gamble, Sanger wrote that to expand her efforts, colored ministers should be hired to help them make their case. Here are her words. Listen to this. "The most successful educational approach to the Negro is through a religious appeal. We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members." This disdain for African Americans is not just a stain in the organization's past, it is ongoing in their work today. Black babies are aborted at a disproportionate rate in the U.S. population. The fact Planned Parenthood claims to celebrate Black History Month while not acknowledging these facts speaks to its hypocrisy and lies. Do not trust Planned Parenthood and do not fall for their propaganda, not during Black History Month or for any month for that matter.
Black pastors demand the removal of a bust of Planned Parenthood's founder from a Washington museum. The National Portrait Gallery says it won't do it.
So we're going to make our country wealthy again. We're going to make our country safe again. We're going to rebuild our inner cities because our African American communities are absolutely in the worst shape that they've ever been in before, ever. You take a look at the inner cities, you get no education, you get no jobs, you get shot walking down the street. They're worse. I mean, honestly, places like Afghanistan are safer than some of our inner cities. And I say to the African American communities, and I think it's resonating, because you see what's happening with my poll numbers with African Americans. They're going like high with the inner cities. I say to the African American people that have to suffer in these inner cities, what do you have to lose? I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it.
In her own words. In 1998, Democracy Now! Aired her reading an open letter to Pope John Paul II during his trip to Cuba. She wrote the message after New Jersey state troopers sent the Pope a letter asking him to call for her extradition.
My name is Asada Shakur, and I was born and raised in the United States. I am a descendant of Africans who were kidnapped and brought to the Americas as slaves. I spent my early childhood in the racist, segregated South. I later moved to the northern part of the country, where I realized that black people were equally victimized by racism and oppression. I grew up and became a political activist, participating in student struggles, the anti-war movement, and most of all, in the movement for the liberation of African Americans in the United States.